Hello and welcome to this video. My name's Adele and joining me today is Amanda Englishby. Hi Amanda.
Hi.
We did a video last week and the reason why we're doing these videos is to help people. I'll just give you a little bit about my background. So I'm a director of Health Perks. We're a workplace wellness company, and I'm also a master teacher of hypnotherapy, EFT, as well as a holistic life coach and MHFA instructor. I'll just hand you over to Amanda. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Yeah, Del. So I'm a life coach, an NLP and EFT practitioner. They're my two main accreditations and tools that I use. And also I use a whole wide range of other tools and techniques to help move people forward and get them to where they want to be, really.
Brilliant. So between us, what we thought is we've got quite a few skills that we've been using to help people on an individual basis over the last few years. We've got quite a few years between us experience, and we just thought it'd be nice under the current climate to help out a little bit, because I don't know if you've noticed, there's a bit of a thing going on with this coronavirus, and many people are suffering as a result of that emotionally and psychologically. So we just want to give back really and try and give a few hints and tips on how they can improve their mood, improve their state and emotional well-being. Since we did the video last week, I don't know if you found, Amanda, you know, I've had messages from people who found it really useful, almost like a light bulb moment, you know, God, you know, I do actually have control of what I think. What we covered briefly, if you haven't watched it, and please do go and watch that video, we talked about our thoughts and how our thoughts create our emotions, and, you know, we control our thoughts. We can't always control what's going on outside of us, particularly now in this current climate. You know, there's an awful lot of things that are out of our control, but we can always control what goes on inside of us. And that was really the message from last video that we did.
Yeah.
So if you found that,
definitely, and that feeling, quite a lot of people have mentioned how they appreciated us not just going straight into how to think positively in these times, how we actually said it's about accepting that fear, because we are all in a place of fear, you know, we are, and it's about accepting and moving through that, and then being able to look at things that are in our control, like you said, and the positives, and, you know, but actually not running away from that feeling of fear and working through it. And that really good technique that you shared last week, the mindfulness, I found very beneficial. I sat very quiet with my eyes closed through it. It was very beneficial, and I know a lot of people have reported back to me and said they really enjoyed that, and they have downloaded it as well since. So yeah, anything like that, I think, and how we can help as we are shifting people through this in a gentle way, easing through this fear, I think is helpful, I hope.
yeah. Absolutely. And it comes down to us at the end of the day, each individual, not you and I, Amanda, but it comes down to ourselves. You know, we talk about the mind and the positive influences that we can have upon our minds. And we call it self-help. Self-help for a reason. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You've got to do it yourself, you know. And
we have a choice.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's no point in knowing all these tools and techniques if you don't actually put them into action. It's like, I don't know about you, Amanda, but I've had so many gym memberships and never been. You don't get any fitter, just fatter. So
you don't go to and as well on the same premise of this practicing, Adele. I love the thought of, you know, you don't just go to the gym, get fit and then stop. Yeah, what's going to happen, and it's the same with our mind. We've got to keep practicing these tools, even when we've moved through all this, which we will. We're all going to move through, and it's going to be, you know, the future is going to be great. I know that, but we will move through this. Yeah. And then don't let these tools go. Keep them up. This is a great time to learn these tools, put them in place now, so then your resilience is going to be fabulous afterwards, because you've dealt with this stuff in a really good way, and we've got that inner resilience.
Yeah. Yeah, what an opportunity. I don't know if you've read a book, Joe Dispenza. I love Joe Dispenza's stuff, yeah. He talks a lot about neuroscience and how people are kind of trapped in routine.
Yeah.
Our habits create our reality, and we just do the same thing day in, day out. We get up, we pick up our phones, we check our social media, we go for the shower, we get to work, we go to work, we come home, we have our tea, we go to bed, and then we do the same thing the next morning, and we expect our lives to change.
Yeah.
How many people do you know that are unhappy in their jobs, prior to this happening?
Yeah.
How many people do you know are unhappy in their lives? So
Yeah.
many people are miserable. So this is a prime opportunity to get out of those habits, because let's face it, the majority of us now, our habits have gone out the window,
Yeah.
and write new habits.
Yeah.
So
Those new, like you say, going back to the neuroscience, if they've been going on this negative pathway for quite a while, it's time to now start going, oh, actually, let's start shifting this a different way. And like you say, learning that now, that'd be amazing.
brilliant opportunity. It's a brilliant opportunity to do that. And, spending time with the kids and doing homework and all this, we just don't spend enough time on ourselves. We've kind of been a slave to the system. Not myself personally, working for myself, I don't feel like I work, but so many people who are in jobs feeling like that slave to the system now have an opportunity to break free.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite exciting times when you think about it.
It can be. It's quite like we say, if we try and shift this into thinking, actually, it's a very empowering time, this, for us to maybe, the work, etc., relationships and other things, they keep us busy. And then times like this, when that's all been taken away for quite a few people, sadly, with regards to the businesses and things like that. But actually, it gives us more time to think, and people have been very distracted. So it's now, oh, but that's not a scary thing. It might feel it, but it's a very good opportunity now to actually ask those big questions and go, oh, was that working? Was it not? What do I need to do now? And how am I going to move through this? And what's going to be on the other side of this then?
Absolutely.
Because that wasn't maybe in some aspects that great. So how can I change this and move forward?
Exciting. But Amanda, as we know, there are many people who have worries at the moment. They're worried their whole safety, if you like. If you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's all been disrupted in a big way. People's jobs are at risk if they've not gone already, their incomes. And it's a very massively worrisome time. And I don't know about you, but I found that people who normally wouldn't have an issue with their mental health suddenly find themselves thrown in the depths of despair, the depths of anxiety, and it's a new territory that they haven't been in before, and they don't really know how to manage it. And I think that's the whole purpose of us doing this, to try and prevent those people from going further and further and further down that path of mental ill health, when really a few little tweaks in their thinking and in their mindset can change that and bring them back to where they used to be. We can't control what goes on outside of us, but we can always control what goes on inside. Would you agree?
Always, I would, definitely, yes. And that's the going back to that word of empowerment. We can take that control back. Yes, this big, huge pandemic is out of our control, but we can choose how we respond and how we react to this. Because are we going to react to it, or are we going to choose to respond to this event in the way we wish?
Yeah, exactly. It's our choice. It is our choice. So, I mean, last time we spoke about that, and this time we're going to talk about a technique. You're going to show us a technique, Amanda, EFT, emotional freedom techniques. And I personally love this technique. I teach this a lot because I know the power of it. And a lot of people would think this technique, because it is so powerful, they'll think, oh, is it placebo or something like that? Let me tell you, it's not placebo, because I did a test on this when my son was probably about, he was probably about 13, 14. And he had this thing whereby, when you go into a freezer and you open up the drawer and the ice just, and it's like nails down a blackboard to some people, he'd be like, I'd scream, and he'd run out of the kitchen. He'd be like, it really went through him. So I picked up this technique probably about 12 years ago, something like that. Longer, actually. Yeah, he would have been.
It's like children with the hand dryers.
Hand dryers.
Yeah, I've seen so many children in toilets that just want to run out as soon as I put the hand dryer on.
Imagine that though, it's a big scary hand dryer. You would be. Yeah, so I thought I'm going to try it because he is not going to believe in this. It's not going to work. It's not going to be on placebo. So sat on the kitchen side and I was like this on him. It's a tapping technique and getting him to say all the things and he's like, get off, all this, but he went along with it. And then the very next day I said, oh, Leon, go to the freezer and get those peas out. And he just went and took the freezer out and took out the freezer and put them down. I went, go and give me those carrots. And he just did the same thing. And I went, do you realise what you've just done? And he went, oh yeah, didn't even think about it. So that for me proved in my mind it isn't.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's been such a game changer, you know, and I had the honour of being on one of your courses, Adele, to learn this skill. And it's been an absolute game changer with my clients. It really has. I keep going back to it, to be honest. In most sessions, it always includes EFT because it's been so powerful. And I know there was one particular client when I was first going into the EFT, and I remember afterwards, we got to the end of the session, you know, and she'd held on to this thing that we'd been discussing for 22 years. So she had that placebo thing. She said, oh, I don't know, Amanda. I don't know whether this has worked, but I do feel okay now, but I don't know. Is it just because, how can you do that? She was like, after we've just talked, you've tapped on some things and we've cognitively talked about something. And I've held on to this for 22 years. I went, well, I tell you what, I'm a woman of my word. I said, go away in a couple of weeks, give it 2 weeks. I said, I would like you to think about what you thought about when we came in here and what we've worked on. If you feel the same level of emotional intensity that you did when you walked into my office today, then I will give you 3 sessions till we've shifted it and we'll try something else. And she was like, okay. 2 weeks later, ding, the phone goes, and I thought, oh, I looked at it. I hope it has. And she said, brilliant, thank you so much, it's worked. And it's that because it's so shocking sometimes. It's such a powerful tool, but I guess I better, well, that was a fusion of words, I always do that. But I guess I better get on with this, shouldn't I? And tell them
Yes.
It's because when we say tapping, to a lot of people, they think, does it mean tapping, tap dancing, what we, tapping, what is this tapping stuff?
It's an energy therapy, isn't it? It works on the meridian system.
Yeah. It's the best way, I mean, we know to describe it is that it is an energy-based technique which aims to lower the level of emotional intensity that you are feeling, and it can be highly effective for stress, anxiety, depression, trauma. We know we can list them. It's basically helpful with anything because it can lower that level of emotional intensity, and that's what we need. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to help people by showing a demonstration, and I'd invite people, the word is, isn't it, invite you all to tap along with me, and I'm going to create a kind of a global generic one practice, and we're going to go through it together, and I'm going to guide you through it. But then after that, you can change these words, make them more relevant to you, use different phrases, use different statements, and so I don't forget to say at the end, I do have a helpful sheet as well that has these tapping points on. So if anybody wants that afterwards, please just send me an email on info@amandaenglishby.co.uk. That's info@amandaenglishby.co.uk.
But it's a really simple technique though, isn't it, Amanda? It's something that is so simple but yet so effective, and I think that's probably why people call it the apex effect. We think, oh, it can't be because of that. I've had this for like anxiety for 20 years. How can it just go like that?
Yeah.
They don't believe it, but it does. So yeah, please do. I'm going to put you on speaker queue and you can talk us through this. So here you go.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one today on, I think the general feelings that we're all experiencing at the moment are feeling worried and anxious. So when we're feeling worried and anxious, why? Because things are out of our control. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through, firstly, the tapping points. Okay, so we're going to do, so this is your karate chop point. Imagine where you karate chop something. Not that you do often, I'm sure, but maybe you might. Okay, if you've watched Karate Kid, you'll know this one. Okay, so there's your karate chop point. I want you to tap on that. And we're going to tap on that as we say something. in a minute, which I'll tell you about, 3 times, okay? So we're going to keep tapping on that part. And then after that, we're going to tap on our points on our head. So you're going to go in between the eyebrows here. You're going to go side of the eyes. And then you're going to go under the eyes. And then you're going to go under the nose. Then you're going to tap on the chin. Then just underneath your collarbone, sometimes if you feel along there, there's a little sore spot. If you feel that and it gives you a bit of an ouch, then just tap lightly on there, just lightly. I'm not going to use that, just tap lightly on it. And then you're going to go under your arm here. For a lady, that's your brow line. For a man, that would be in line with your nipple, okay? All right, so we'll go again. You're just going to go in between your eyes.
On the eyebrow?
Yeah, sorry.
Just there, yeah, on the start of the eyebrow, yeah.
Then side, then
eye, yeah, under eye.
Underneath, then on the nose,
yeah,
on your chin,
yeah,
on your collarbone,
yeah,
and then here, just on your side, okay?
Brilliant.
So that's basically it. That's the tapping part, okay? But obviously we can't just sit there tapping. We need to talk through this stuff as well. And that's how this works, because we're working on the tapping on the energy system. So these are like acupuncture points. So, you know, it's like they call it acupuncture without the needles. So that's the points that we're tapping on, which is going to release the emotional intensity as we cognitively work through things. That's why it's so powerful. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to all repeat the same statement. So the statement is, and this is what I've said, I made it global, but you can change it afterwards, but let's all try this one. So it's feeling worried and anxious. So everybody repeat after me, and you're going to go, feeling worried and anxious that this is out of my control. I'd like to accept this so I can be at peace. Feeling worried and anxious that this is out of my control. I'd like to accept this so I can be at peace. Say it like you mean it though. Okay, so you're going to repeat it yourself. Feeling worried and anxious. This is out of my control. I'd like to accept this so I can be at peace. And feel the peace as you say that. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to rate now how, on a scale of 0 to 10, what the intensity is that you was just feeling. Okay, so it might be a 10, it might be a 5, it might be a 0. And we'd have done this at the beginning, okay, and you'd have rated that number of how you actually feel at the moment, okay? So you've rated that. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through some phrases that are going to help you shift this, okay? So we're going to tap on the head, feeling worried, just here on the eyebrow, feeling worried and anxious, really worried and anxious that this is out of my control. It is out of my control. I can feel it in my body. I start overthinking. I start to feel stressed. I feel this stress, all this worry, all this anxiety. I feel it in my body. I can feel it now. And maybe notice whereabouts in your body that you're feeling this as well as we're doing this. Might be in your stomach, might be in your chest, might be in your head. It'll be different for each one of you. Just feel it. All this worry, all this anxiety of things that are out of my control. I can't control this, not right now. And it makes me feel worried. It makes me feel anxious. But I'd like to accept this. And I'd like to release this so I can feel in control. And I just want to breathe.
It's funny, as you just said that, I just took a big deep breath and that's a sign of an energy release when people exhale, isn't it, Amanda?
Now, this is the point, Adele, that most people go, oh, and I'm going, yeah, don't worry. This negative feeling, yeah, it doesn't feel nice at the beginning, but there's no point of tapping in positives and things at the beginning because we don't believe that. This is the acceptance part, and this is what's very powerful about what myself and Adele do. It's all about accepting first. We can't do anything until we've accepted that emotion. Okay, so you're okay to feel worried and anxious, but we need to shift it. Okay, so this is the accepting part. I promise I'll make you feel better by the end of this. Okay, all right, so it might still be quite high, that number, but it might have come down a bit. So we're just going to do another little one on that until it gets lower. Okay, we're aiming to get you at least about a number three down before we can then start putting in the positives. Okay, all right, would you agree with me on that, Adele? Number 3 to 4?
Yeah, because you know, if we have that resistance to what is, i.e. we've not accepted the situation, how can we change anything we don't own? And what you resist persists. So it's about acknowledging what is and saying what we'd like it to be, and just accepting it to then move it on, move it out of our energy system. So yeah, sure.
Like we say, with with the reality of it. So only when we're lower, when we're at about number 3, number 4, would you say? Number 3, then we can start thinking of the positive. So we're just going to do a bit more tapping on the negative, and then I promise we're not going to stay there. We're going to shift you through. Okay, so just tap out that negative, feel it in your body, really feel this, because it'll be more powerful if you feel it. Okay, so again, this worry, all this worry, tapping on your eyebrow, this anxiety linked to things being out of my control. I'd like to accept this, because this feeling of worry is in my body. I can feel it now. It makes me overthink. It causes me stress. All this worry, all this fear, all this anxiety. I'd like to release this, so then I can be in control. Because right now I don't feel in control. I feel worried. I feel anxious. But I'd like to release this. I'd like to release this and let this go. Now breathe. Good. And you should feel that this is lessened a little bit now. The number, whereas before it was probably quite high, it has lowered for you. So like I say, you'll do this as many times as you need to do to get that lower, okay? And now what we're going to do, now that number's a bit lower, we're going to change it. Okay, now we're going to shift into the positives, okay? So I'm just going to repeat here, I'm going to repeat the statement again, and then we're going to tap in the positive, just so you can remember, okay? So feeling worried and anxious, that this is out of my control. I'd like to accept this so I can be at peace. Feeling worried and anxious that this is out of my control. I'd like to accept this so I can be at peace. Feeling worried and anxious that this is out of my control. I'd like to accept this so I can be at peace. But I do feel worried and anxious that this is out of my control. But maybe if I release this, and maybe if I accept it, I can let it go. Because I'm doing the best I can. I am doing the best I can. And although this is out of my control, and I am feeling anxious, and I am feeling worried, but I can control how I react. So I can control this. And maybe if I believe this, I'll start to release this. And then I can feel at peace. Because there's things that are out of my control, but there are things that are in my control. And I can choose to release this. And I can let this go. And if I do, maybe I'll start to feel more relaxed. Maybe I'll start to enjoy this time with my family and connecting differently with my friends and enjoying these new ways that I'm working and this new way that life is taking me right now. Maybe I can accept that, and then I can relax. So I could let this go and be at peace, because that'd be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice. And now relax, because you're letting this go. You can feel it shifting. It's leaving your body. Just breathe. You're letting this go. All that worry, all that anxiety is starting to go. You can accept this. You're choosing to let this go. You're releasing it now so you can feel at peace. And breathe. So hopefully you will be feeling a bit better than you did before when you first started tapping on that. Now, this is the magical tool, isn't it, Adele? You cannot say, I don't think anybody who's participated in that is going to say that they do not feel that little bit better now after doing some tapping.
I didn't even tap along there because I was listening and watching, and it was, you know, you talking to people out there. But I feel a lot more chilled just having done that in my head, because everything's energy. You don't even need to tap. You can do it and you can tap, well, you know, for other people, of course, surrogate tapping, you know, but even just listening to those words and imagining those points, I just feel like a lot more grounded, a lot calmer.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I hope that you guys at home have benefited from that. And like I say, you can adapt this. You can adapt the statement. You can adapt the phrases. Just send me an email and I will send you the sheet if you need a reminder of that, or just watch this again because you can see me doing it. Okay. So, so yeah, I hope that's been helpful.
Yeah, it was very helpful. Thanks, Amanda. And some of the questions that, you know, I know people probably be wondering there, you know, do you have to tap on a particular side? No, we have meridians on both sides of our body. So you can tap with any, you know, sometimes I'll be tapping with that hand and then I'll change hands, and it's funny, the client will change hands. It's just because my arm's aching.
And then I can see the stress coming because they're thinking, am I doing it wrong? Like, it doesn't matter which side you do it, even if you're as long as you're on those points.
You could use both hands if you prefer to do both hands, and if one point feels slightly nicer, keep tapping on that point, because clearly, you know, that's where you need to tap. You know, use your guidance, your inner guidance. So yeah, there's a lot that you can do. That you can use EFT, can't you, for anything basically. They say try it on anything: pain, stress, anxiety, phobias, eating, drinking too much.
Which quite a lot of people apparently are drinking too much in this coronavirus.
Well, yeah, they are. So yeah, you can use it for anything. And you would just adapt, wouldn't you, those words? So you would say, you know, I have this urge to go and raid the fridge, but I'd like to leave it alone. I have this urge to drink that bottle of wine, but I'd like to have a glass of water instead. I choose.
Yeah, and I think it's good that you mentioned that, Adele, actually, because I was going to say that earlier and I've forgotten, which was to say to people that, you know, the statement, this karate chop one that we did at the beginning, when you say that, you say it 3 times, and with power, like we said, it's structured in a way of, you know, I'm feeling this because of this, you know, this problem. However, I'd like to feel like this. Yeah, so it's kind of that. It's the shifting through. It's not feeling great because of this problem, but I'd like to feel like this. That's the whole point, because you're choosing, like you say, I want to eat the cake in the fridge. It's making me feel bad. I want to eat the cake in the fridge, but I'd like to choose an apple instead. Yeah, or whatever it is, so I can feel more healthy. You know, we make these things up ourselves. So yeah, but I think as well, I've noticed that a lot of some clients in the past have got confused when they've looked at this on the internet, because Americans, and you know, there's different ways of doing this, and this is a brilliant structure that we use that is well known and obviously trained by Adele, but there is other ones that introduce tapping on the head as well, and people think, oh, am I supposed to be doing that? If it works for you, do. But generally, myself and Adele don't choose to use that point. We have our reasons, but we don't choose to use that point.
I used to use that point, I'll be honest. I used to. Sometimes I do. I throw it in there if I feel, you know, the need to. But yeah, you just got to use your own.
Yeah. So don't worry. I'm telling people, like, if you find these different ways, just do it. It's going to benefit you. And there's some great videos out there as well, if you look on YouTube, that can guide you through again as well. If you don't.
You can't get it wrong. That's the thing. You can't get it wrong. You're not going to tap in any negative emotions. So just to recap, on the karate point 3 times, I feel like this, but I'm okay. I feel like this, but I'd like to be okay. I feel like this. I want to let this go and be free of it. And then the tapping, start of the eyebrow, eye to eye, just a few times, under the eye, under the nose, reaffirming how you feel. I feel like this, on the collarbone, under the arm. Deep breath, breathe out. I still feel like this, but I still want to let it go. I still feel like this, but I'm okay. I still feel a little bit like this, but it's reducing, and I'd like to let it go completely. Still feel like this, and then go through these points again until you get it right down as far as you can go. And then, like you said, Amanda, start introducing some of the positives to really tap in some of that positive. Yeah. When we start off, we're not tapping in negatives. People say, oh, I'm tapping in a negative.
It's like, no, you just it.
We're acknowledging it, because we're owning it, and we're saying, right, go.
Yeah. feel it, and push it away.
Brilliant. Well, that was really good, Amanda. Thank you for that. I'm sure.
Oh, thank you, and I hope that everybody's found that beneficial at home.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing I'd like to say also is, before we wrap up, it's brilliant for children. EFT is amazing for children. I had this client not so long ago, and 7-year-old came to me, obviously via his mum, who I saw as a client, and he came in the week after I saw him the week before, and he said, "Do you know?" He said, "When I've had a really hard day at school, I come home and I do my tappy spell, and then I feel great." I was like, oh my gosh, and he called it a tappy spell. I wrote a book for children, Enchanted Fairy Taps, and it's a metaphorical story teaching children EFT, the technique, because it's phenomenal for children. And let's not forget that the majority of issues that people have their roots in unresolved negative emotions and memories that have happened in childhood. And I was seeing so many people in the clinic who were in their 60s after a lifetime of anxiety or depression, gone a few sessions, and they're like, why did I not know this years ago? So I wrote this book. If anybody wants that as well, I'll give that out as a PDF, free of charge, if anybody wants to use that with the kids. So it's a phenomenal technique for kids.
I've been doing it recently with a friend's son, actually, who's struggling at the moment, and we've been creating our own spell, and he's a very, very big Harry Potter fan, so we're doing a Harry Potter spell. And I'm actually thinking of doing more on that for some children at the moment, like yourself, Adele. We know that they struggle, and if we can make it a bit magical for them, and a way that's normal and quite fun, would be great.
Yeah, because a lot of parents are anxious about the effect that it's having on the kids as well. So at least it's empowering them to do something about that. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Amanda. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and like you say, if anybody wants any details on that, I'm sure we'll put some links down there. And also, like Amanda says, go on YouTube, find a video that resonates. It might not be your words, but if it resonates, and you'll know if it's resonating, you can feel that emotional pull. Just tap along saying their words. Keep tuning back in how you're feeling. Tap along again, tune back in, and you will find that lifts. You'll find that lifts. So brilliant.
Is it our final one next week, Adele?
Yes. So next week we're going to do a couple of techniques. You can do one, I'll do one. Going forwards and trying to build in a positivity session going forward. So we've covered mindset. We've covered a technique to eradicate and eliminate anxiety and worry. And we're going to look at something going forward.
Brilliant. Hope and moving forwards, that wonderful future we're all going to have.
Yeah. Okay, all right, well, lovely talking to you again, Amanda, and thank you everybody for watching. Keep safe, and if you've got any questions, do get in touch with either myself or Amanda. Our details will be somewhere around this video. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.